The Calcio Guys is a weekly podcast by Adriano Donardo, Gianni Delacoli, and myself, Nicholas Di Giovanni. We want to bring Calcio back to its roots in our communities and share stories from around the world about why we're passionate about the beautiful game. You can listen to us anywhere where you listen to your podcasts, including Spreaker, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, iHeart Radio, and Mixcloud. Give us your opinion on social media at The Calcio Guys on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The intro song is Fireworks by Jazar. Counting down the days. We're almost there, boys. What is it? 5 days away from Euro 2020.
Yep, 5 days.
We already had to wait so long. We had to wait another year. We're almost there. I'm pumped. Calcio Guys, Adriano Donardo, Gianni Delacoli. I'm Nicholas Di Giovanni. Joining us today is Danny from 6ixSideCalcio. Danny, how's it going?
It's going good, guys. How are you guys feeling heading into the tournament?
Super happy.
We're pumped. We're pumped, Danny. We can't wait. 5 days away. I could taste it, Danny. We're almost there. We're almost home.
I am excited, and I know the people in Toronto. I know a lot of Italians in Toronto are excited for the Euros. Hopefully, they can win that first game because in Toronto, I don't know about Montreal, but in Toronto, it's like when we win that first game in the group, it's like we won the tournament already. It's just unbelievable scenes.
You could say Montreal is somewhat the same. I mean, like group stage games, literally, is not super like full of people, but it still has people going through it after they qualify or after the last group stage game. That's when it starts getting like super jammed after every win.
I think this summer, like with this COVID summer, COVID Euro, and like restrictions easing, especially here in Montreal, the terrace is open, indoor dining going to be opening as well for restaurants. So I think it's going to be a bit more of a buzz this summer, but when the Azzurri are on, Little is rocking, so we're excited.
Yeah. Well,
I'm excited for it too.
Sorry to Danny to bring this up because I told you in DMs I wouldn't, but here in Montreal with the Habs.
Well, he's a Juventino. That's why he lied.
They're used to lying. And
Danny said, "Don't bring up hockey." I said, "Don't worry, I won't." But we're on the topic. I got to bring it up. We see.
I have respect. See, like at least Bruins fans have respect, Danny. See, like we don't bring up shit.
You guys bet us like 3 times in a row already. So
exactly. So like we don't say shit. We stay calm.
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Then.
All I was gonna say, you see it in the city how it makes people happy. That's all I was gonna say, especially after
especially today too when they won. So
yeah.
Montreal's gonna be buzzing more than ever because of Euros, and the Habs are doing well.
I gotta put up my Habs flag and my Italy flag on the car. First time that's happened, I'm pumped. But Danny, normally what we do when we have a guest on, we want to know how you became, a fan of the team you like. You're a Napoli fan. But since we want to talk about the Azzurri, pretty easy how you became an Italy fan. That's that comes with genes. But tell us some of your favorite memories of being an Azzurri fan.
Yeah, so one of my favorite memories has to be 2006, the semifinals against Germany when Grosso scored the first goal, and then Del Piero, beautiful finish to make it 2-0 for us. I was 5 years old at the time. And I remember watching it with my family, my whole family. And just when Grosso scored, Del Piero scored, I just remember the emotion my family showed. I have a lot of family who doesn't even watch soccer. And when Grosso scored, it's like me watching a Napoli game. Like it's the passion they had. And some of my favorite memories, like those were my favorite memories. But the one memory I'm going to cherish forever was in 2012 when Balotelli scored that screamer against Germany. I don't think I gave a bigger yell than I did that year. 2016 had some beautiful memories with Italy versus Belgium, 2-0, Pele scoring the goal. And then against Spain, when Pele scored, I remember after the goal, I didn't even wait till the final whistle. I already knew we were going to advance, and I ran to go celebrate with all the Italians in Toronto. It was unbelievable, and just seeing like so much emotion with the players too. Even the national anthem, even it could be a friendly World Cup qualifying game against a small nation. Just the passion they show for the national anthem, that like gets me like chills down my spine. Like it's just an unbelievable seeing that.
And surprised Nick didn't ask this as the first question, because we do this all the time whenever we have like a first timer on. So obviously your club team is Napoli.
Yeah.
How did it become that way? Like, how did you just become a Napoli supporter?
It comes from like my family as well, because my dad's side's Napolitan. So just watching games with my grandfather, my great grandfather, even my grandfather on my mom's side, who's not a Napoli fan, but he would always watch Serie A, and just finding the passion as well with the Napoli fans, hearing about the legacy that Maradona left, especially because my dad's Argentinian as well. So him talking about Maradona, even my grandfather talking about Maradona, doing some research as well when I was a kid, like maybe 9, 10 years old, finding out what Maradona, like who he was, because I was at the time starting to get into soccer, and seeing that he took a team from Napoli who were bankrupt, close to relegation, and bringing them to the top, and just to see what it meant to the fans, just what it meant to my family, made me fall in love with the club. And since I was maybe, I want to say 11, I was a Napoli fan, became a Napoli fan when I was 11, and to this day, I bleed Napoli and nothing else.
Wow, it's an amazing story, and you got the perfect mix there. You know, the Italian Argentinian mix.
Yeah.
To support the Azzurri, to support Napoli, I guess it just goes hand in hand for yourself, and you know, with obviously the family ties to the reasonings. But Danny, you know, you said you were 5 years old in 2006.
Yeah.
You know, your family roots kind of brought you to Napoli. Who were your favorite players and idols? You know, growing up until maybe now. You know, before we get into the real serious talk about the Azzurri, just if you want to share any favorite players, memorable moments, and whatever you have to share.
Yeah, for me, growing up, I became a goalkeeper, so I idolized the footsteps of Gianluigi Buffon. I was tempting at one point to become a Juve fan when I was younger because of Buffon, because of the guys like Buffon, Cannavaro, Camoranesi, Del Piero. But I ended up going with my family roots, cheering for Napoli. So Buffon was a big idolized for me. He was an idol for me. Guys like Fabio Grosso, I looked up after, because for me, I saw him as a hero. Cannavaro for me because Napolitano, and he was unbelievable in the World Cup. And surprisingly, Pirlo and Gattuso were two of my favorite players growing up. I love the grit of Gattuso, just the toughness he showed every game, just the passion he had, and the Pirlo, the creative mindset. And just the way he played, he was easily one of my favorite players growing up. Even Totti, Tony, just basically anyone in 2006 team were guys like I idolized and I loved with a passion, because they made me like feel something. I probably the first time I can remember being happy in my life when Italy won the World Cup. But for me, it must have been Buffon, Pirlo, and Gattuso and Cannavaro were the ones I grew up idolizing.
Beautiful.
That's awesome, and we had your co-host from 6ixSideCalcio and Enzo on.
Yeah, huge Roma fan.
Yeah, last year, around this time last year, and we talked Azzurri with him, and his story of the World Cup in 2006, where his family basically ran him over, and he was like 4 or 5 years old. I'm guessing you and Enzo are like the same age.
Yeah, we're both the same age. We're both 20, went to high school together, and we became great friends from there.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, and you know what? It's awesome because, like you said, you were 5. You know, it's still pretty young, and not a lot of people like remember things when they're 5 years old. Like, you know, when my earliest soccer memories are 2002 World Cup. I barely remember the final. Okay, yeah, Italy wasn't in it. You know, I was 5 years old then too. So
I wish I had PTSD about that.
It's a good thing I didn't remember it then.
Growing up and witnessing that 2002 World Cup, I can only imagine those in their prime, like who were like maybe 12, 11.
I was 10 years old and just going to school, and like obviously the elementary school is majority Italian, but you know there were some Portuguese kids, you know, and some Latino kids and whatever, and then they had a really good time laying into us for that tournament and stuff. Even though Spain got it in
too. When it comes for like the World Cup and like Euros and stuff, there's a lot of chatter between the Spanish kids who are from Spain, the Portuguese, and the Italians. It's all fun and games, and then the tournament kicks, and we become enemies. You can say.
So
you're part of like Napoli Club Toronto, and
yes.
I saw some of the stuff that you guys are doing, and it's pretty fantastic. And
Thank you.
honestly speaking, I hope Napoli Club Montreal kind of steps up their game for that, because the stuff that you guys have lined up is fantastic.
Yeah.
So how did you guys like start creating that? Was there like never like any like actual Napoli support club in Toronto? How did you guys come together to do it?
Yeah, we're technically the only one in Toronto. So it started with Carmen, the founder of the Napoli Club Toronto, and Soreno, who's the co-founder of the Napoli Club Toronto. So they were just talking one day on Twitter, and I still happened to tweet at Azzurri fan Phil if he knew any Napoli fans in Toronto, because I felt like I was the only one in Toronto. So because it was rare you find Napoli fans, it's all Juve, AC Milan, Inter. So I tweeted at Azzurri fan Phil, and I said, "Do you know any Napoli fans in Toronto?" And he tagged below both Carmen and Soreno. So we all started talking, and they just had the idea from when they went to, I think it was Michigan, to watch the Napoli game, to start, because there was a lot of Canadians who liked Napoli there. So they had the idea to start the Napoli club, and they just asked me if I wanted to join, and I said, yeah, I would love to be part of a Napoli club in Toronto with all Napoli fans. So I later joined, and as a few years went on, I think maybe a year and a half, they asked me and another buddy, his name is Gianluca, if we want to be part of the team. So I'm the social media manager. Gianluca, I can't remember the role he has, but he has a very important role. Like, he finds sponsors and stuff, and Carmen and Soreno, who are you could say the Laurentises of the Napoli Club of Toronto, the presidents of the Napoli Club Toronto, both of them.
Shout out.
Yeah.
So what we wanted to do with this episode, Danny, so Euro 2020 coming up.
Yep.
A couple days, what are we? Sunday, Friday, so that's 5 days.
Are you saying we're in the future in 2021 at the Euro 2020 is coming up?
Yeah, it seems weird. We're calling it Euro 2020, but it's 2021.
It would have cost them too much to replace all the logos, change the 0 for the 1, so they just kept it.
as if they don't have money.
Just
apparently.
paint the gigantic 1 over the 0.
Yeah,
we're just gonna put some Scotch tape on that, and make it look like a 1.
But we had Pizza Calcio on in the week to talk about the roster. We rated the roster. So now, we want to look at more of a broad view of the tournament. We'll go group by group. We'll leave Italy's group to the last, because we'll still talk Azzurri.
Okay.
We'll leave Italy's group to the last. We'll go group by group. Give us some of our thoughts on the teams. Maybe who we predict as top 2. Maybe we'll talk about some dark horses or favorites in the tournament. Obviously, we all want to say Italy's going to win, but we're going to have to maybe face a reality where Italy doesn't win. So we'll see.
I'm not gonna lie, I put Italy winning the Euros.
Yeah,
in my prediction.
Okay, Danny, save it.
But we'll start with Group B then.
Okay.
Which is Belgium, Denmark, Russia, and Finland, and they play in St. Petersburg and Copenhagen. So as we know, every group plays at different locations. Honestly, this group is, it's kind of a strange one. Like Finland, I feel we saw them in the qualifying. They could make a few surprises. Belgium, obviously the favorites, but Denmark and Russia too. They could have
interesting.
They could have some. They could cost us some surprises too, right? So this is an interesting group. What do you make of it?
I think obviously Belgium's going to top the group. I wouldn't be surprised if Denmark finishes second, because they actually have some good players on their side, like Eriksson, Breathwaite, the striker, Poulsen. I believe he's from Denmark as well, the striker from Leipzig. They got some good players on the side, but I think Russia, they have better players. They're coming off an unbelievable World Cup. I think they could get second place, and Denmark will finish third and Finland fourth.
Yeah, I'm not too far off from what Danny's saying. I think, I mean, for Belgium's sake, I think if Belgium don't top the group, for them it's. I mean, I don't maybe want to label it as failure, but it's close to that. I think it's tournaments now that we've been speaking about Belgium. You know, Belgium dark horse. Belgium can make a splash. They came short in tournaments past, but I think Belgium are still there. They're still a top side, top nation. So I think they do top the group. I'm going, Denmark in second as well. I think, with the leadership of Simon Kjær in the back, had a fantastic season with Milan. And the names that Danny mentioned as well. I think they're a decent side. I'm not too convinced by Finland, and Russia. I don't know their squad as much. If they can string up what they were stringing up back in the World Cup in 2018. Maybe they can make some noise, but I think Belgium 1, Denmark 2, and I would probably say Russia 3 with Finland in 4.
See, what I like about Belgium, like I've always been a big Belgium. Okay, I've always been big on Belgium because like Mertens, Nangolan. I feel like as if there are a bunch of fantastic pieces that. Individually, they're great, but because they don't have that much time with each other, don't mesh well. It reminds me of the golden age of England, like the Gerrard, Lampard, Beckham days, where there were just so many fantastic players, but when they came together, they just obviously there was a club hatred that was involved too. But that's what I see when I see Belgium. I see a great team that you should never underestimate, but after witnessing so many tournaments where they just don't fully deliver, it's more like, in my eyes, a sense that, like I said, fantastic pieces.
Yeah.
But in this group, should still finish first. The second place team that I think would be, I think it would probably be Russia, just given on the fact that they had a great momentum in 2018. They're still a good squad that I feel like as if people kind of underestimate. Denmark still has some bigger names. I think Denmark might be one of those 4 third-place teams that actually make it through to the group stages.
That's what I think so too.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very a good top 3 heavy group. I don't like Finland. No disrespect to them, but I don't think they're gonna. I don't think in this group stage they might. I don't think they're going to get a win. I think they might get at best a 1 draw. And if I'm going to make a bold prediction here, I could see Finland going 0-3 versus these teams. Probably get a draw versus Denmark, probably, but that's me.
Yeah. In my predictions, I did the tournament predictor on UEFA a couple weeks ago. I did Belgium, Denmark, Russia, Finland. Group C got Netherlands, Ukraine, Austria, and Goran Pandev's North Macedonia. They play in Hungary and in the Netherlands. I think again there's another group where Netherlands is expecting to win, but the debate is maybe who's going to finish second, who's going to finish third between Ukraine and Austria. All respect to North Macedonia. I don't see them going far. But you know what, the Netherlands, no Van Dijk because of injury. De Ligt just picked up a knock. They're still a good team, but they haven't played it in a major tournament since 2014. So there's going to be some rust there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think, they have enough quality to top this group. Second place is going to be interesting because of Ukraine. They're a decent side as well. Austria, they show they could be a good side with Alaba playing anywhere. That guy can back, left back, CDM. I think he played striker at one point for them too or something. But I think Ukraine have enough quality in their side with Zinchenko, left back. He's a very important player for them. They got some good players in the mid. Malinowski, he's going to be a key factor for Ukraine. I think he could be one guy that proves the tournament wrong. He can take the tournament by storm. He just had an amazing season with Atalanta. I think he can continue that momentum heading into the Euros. I think for me, I would have Netherlands first, Ukraine second. I'm going to put Macedonia third. I think they're just on a high. I think they're a team that you can't take lightly because they got some good players in their side. Pandev seems to be scoring. Almost when he plays for Macedonia, the guy's like the Macedonian Maradona. Like he does everything. He's just incredible for them. So I'm going to put Macedonia third and Austria fourth.
Yeah, no, you bring up good points, and I like what Nick mentioned as well about the Netherlands. I mean, this is like we like to say about Italy. We haven't seen them we were talking last week to 6ixSideCalcio. We haven't seen them in a major tournament in five years, and Netherlands is just in the mix of that conversation as well. This is a side that I think has a lot to prove in this tournament. To start off well, I think if you look on paper. I know that the game is played on the pitch. You look on paper. You think Netherlands should be topping this group. I do believe that they will. I'm going to say Netherlands 1. I'm going to go Ukraine 2. I think Ukraine is a tricky team. They're led by Shevchenko. He's had. I think he's been at the helm there for a couple of tournaments or just a couple of years. With their nation. So I don't know. I think he's got them on a good path. I think like what Danny mentioned about Malinowski, we obviously see him in Serie A. I can't say, guys, anybody listening to this, we can't say we watch every player on every nation. We're not experts. We're just giving our opinions. But
based off what they do in Serie A, for me,
exactly, or from what we see or what we know, right? So I think Ukraine's got some pieces. I don't think it's enough to topple the Netherlands. But again, this is a tournament and. Anything can happen, but I will go Netherlands 1, Ukraine 2. I think Austria has enough to finish 3, and I think it's unfortunate for North Macedonia. I think I like their story how they got into the tournament, but I think they will fall short and they will finish in 4th.
What I like about this group is that it has the makings of a 2010 Italy group where, like an upset can happen where a bigger team does not make it through. We can't underestimate Ukraine at all. Shevchenko's got a great thing going there. I think Adriano mentioned it. Sorry, I was just relocating my laptop, so I probably missed it. But they finished top of their qualifier group. They beat Portugal, which was in their group, and Portugal's got a fantastic young team. And a team that obviously, last Euro Cup winners are not a team that should be taken lightly. And so I think they got a great system going on over there. Is it enough to beat the Netherlands? It can happen. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. But if they play well, they could probably take like a quick 1-0 lead and then park the bus. If it's completely plausible. Now, I'm not saying that it's gonna happen guaranteed. So I would go with what Adri said: Netherlands first, Ukraine second, Austria third, North Macedonia fourth.
And what's interesting about this group, should Italy win their group, they play the runner-up of Group C. So, for Italian fans, keep an eye on this. So, should Ukraine beat the Netherlands and finish first, and Italy win their group, it'd be Italy-Netherlands in the round of 16. So, in my bracket, I have Ukraine finishing second, Austria third, and obviously Netherlands first. So it would be Italy-Ukraine, just like in 2006. Just a round earlier, though.
Guess you can repeat itself.
Yeah.
Against Shevchenko once again.
Group D features another team that Italy played in 2006, the Czech Republic, England, Croatia, and Scotland. So these games are in the UK. They're in Scotland and in Wembley Stadium in London. That's pretty interesting. You got the rivalry going between England and Scotland, and then Croatia and Czech Republic too, two Eastern European countries. So pretty interesting group. Scotland obviously the favorites, right? England, sorry, not Scotland.
Yeah.
But
I was like, you trolling. That's my job. I'm just supposed to be joking here.
But we know Croatia. We know Croatia could cause some upsets, and we know England. So I wouldn't be surprised if Croatia finishes first in this group and English finishes second, or possibly even third. They lose to Scotland or something. I don't know.
They're gonna bottle it.
Danny, what do you think?
I think England, they just have quality every position. They have some good players in every position. It depends now, because we always talk how England could be one of the favorites. It's coming home, but they end up going home early in the tournament. I think Croatia will finish second, and I think England will top the group. I think Scotland will finish third and Czech Republic fourth. I think this could be the year. Like, I'm not trying to get the English fans hyped up because we all know what happens when they get hyped. They just fall in the big games. But I think this could be the year where they can even make the semifinals, I believe. I think they have a good enough side. Kane's an amazing striker. The only concern I have is their back line. I'm a huge fan of Harry Maguire. I don't know how good he's going to be during the tournament. I think he's hurt too, I believe. So who knows if he's even going to start, if he's healthy enough to start. But I think they have a good team all around with the midfield. They got a great attack. I just think they'll finish first, Croatia second, Scotland third, and Czech Republic fourth.
Yeah, and let's not get the English too hyped up because it's like Danny said, it's going to be a never-ending cycle, right? So, but no, again, you got to give credit where credit's due. I think jokes aside and banter aside, I think England do have a good side. They got some top players. I do agree with the backline goalie point that Danny made. I'm not too convinced personally. I think talk about maybe midfield up to attack. We're speaking a different tune, right? So I do think again on paper they should be topping it. But again, I'm pretty high on Croatia. It's like what Johnny was saying about Belgium. I think Croatia is one of those ones that are always kind of like dark horse. Don't take them lightly. They can really shock a lot of teams. They shocked a lot of people in 2018. I don't know if they really ride that same momentum because we are in 2021. Things have changed, but I still think that their players can produce, can be difference makers in this tournament. I'm gonna go. I guess I will go England 1, Croatia 2, but I think it'll be a very tight margin. I'm going to go with the Czechs in 3, with Scotland in 4th. Again, I don't think it's anything disrespect to the Scots, but I don't know. I know we saw Czech Republic get manhandled by Italy and smashed by Italy in the last friendly game before the Euros, but I still think they have something there. It's nothing crazy, but I think you just speak about the Czech Republic, and in these types of tournaments they always seem to be around. So I'm going to put them 3, and I'm going to go with Scotland 4th. But again, I think this group from top to bottom, it's going to be very tight. I don't think it's going to be a landslide between these teams, so that could easily flip flop, in any way from 1 to 4. So that's how I see it.
I'm gonna probably go with more of a bolder prediction. I actually think Croatia tops the group. I think England's probably gonna have a stumble at the beginning, probably the first game. They're probably just gonna be a little bit, out of sorts. I'm not saying that they don't have the quality to get it together. They're actually going to get it together. But, I haven't paid – actually, oh, my God. Why is my mind drawing a blank? Dele Alli was called up to the roster. No, if I'm not mistaken?
I don't think so, actually. I don't think so.
He wasn't.
Yeah, I don't think so, no.
That's a player who has dipped in form, so I'm just I was going to mention that fact. But the roster, like you mentioned before, is a good roster. But that's what I was saying. I think they'd be maybe the first couple of games, or not even the first couple. The first game, they're just going to have a bit of a stumble. I think Croatia actually wins all 3. That's why I think they top the group. Wow. The third place team, I'm going to put it as Czech Republic, but I don't think it's going to be a strong enough third place finish for them to actually move on. They're not going to be one of those top 4 third place teams. It's not the Nedved Rosicky Czech days, of Czech Republic. It's I would say subpar squad. Probably they just need to retool. And Scotland, I think they finish 4th out of these 4 teams. I see them as the weakest quality one. I just put Czech Republic slightly higher than them. Probably that game when they face each other is probably going to be a 2-2 draw or something. But it's going to be first Croatia, second England, third Czech, but not a strong enough third to move on, and 4th Scotland for me.
I agree. In my, I actually went with a very bold prediction, almost trolling. I put Croatia, Czech Republic, England, Scotland. So I have England number 3. That's almost wishful thinking, to be honest.
Wow.
Again, guys, don't bet on these predictions. Anybody listening,
please.
Bet the house.
We're begging you. We're begging you. Don't.
I'm fully expecting to get some DMs from some people, or even like the Calcio guys. But who the fuck is this Johnny guy? What the fuck is he saying?
Don't go on Bet365. Don't go on Misoje. Please, guys, don't put the house on these predictions.
And Group E: Spain, Sweden, Poland, Slovakia. This group is being played in Spain and Russia. You know what? It's not as clear cut for Spain as we think.
It's an interesting group.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
Very interesting.
Spain, they just lost Busquets. He tested positive for COVID.
Yep.
Sergio Ramos didn't get called up. This is not, Spain of 10 years ago. So it's an interesting group for sure.
Yeah, very interesting. I think for me, I personally think Spain do have the quality to finish top of their group.
Yeah.
For second place, it's actually very interesting. But I'm going to give it to Poland. I do believe they got Lewandowski. You can't count that guy out. That guy scored 41 goals, I believe, for Poland. Bayern this season, and especially with the likes of, say, Zielinski behind, who just came off a great season for Napoli. Probably their best midfielder they have on the team. I think Poland finishes second, Slovakia third, and which one's the other team? I couldn't recall.
Sweden.
Ooh, okay, this is interesting because Sweden don't have Ibrahimovic, so it's gonna be interesting to see what they do. To see what Kulusevski can bring, because he's gonna be their main guy, I believe. So I think Sweden will finish third, and Slovakia will finish fourth.
Yeah, this is like you said, Danny. This is a very interesting group. I find it's kind of maybe like the Belgium group, or not the Belgium group, the one we just spoke about. Sorry, even the Croatia, England group. I think some of these, there's a lot of interesting groups I find, and for me, Group E is one of them. I'm pretty certain that Spain, this is, I know Nick said, it's not the Spain of the past. It isn't. It's far from it. We saw legends with this Spain team. Not to say that their team isn't good. I think they are kind of still in a rebuilding time. Obviously, Ramos not there, and a lot of maybe other exclusions and omissions for this squad. If I'm not mistaken, I saw this, that there's not one Real Madrid player on this Spanish
one
side.
Real Madrid player.
So I don't know
Brighton players than Real Madrid.
There you go. So I don't know if that raises a bit of eyebrows for people. It kind of does for me, but I still think that they have enough to just as a nation. You speak about Spain, you speak about tournaments. I know it's not enough, and you need the players to go along with it. I still do think they top the group. Again, very slight margin, because I am pretty big on Poland. Lewandowski, it's like a no-brainer for me. This guy can score for fun. So it is fantastic. I'm a big fan of Zielinski. When he's played for Napoli, he's looked good. Johnny and Danny, you guys can definitely attest to that.
Yeah.
Some people peg him as, one of the better midfielders, or probably the best midfielder in Serie A this season. I know our boys at the Raffrant would have a say in that as well. So, I don't know. I think it's close for 1-2 for me between Spain and Poland. I will say Spain 1 and Poland 2. For 3 and 4, I don't know about Slovakia. I don't know too much about them. I know there's Skriniar at the back.
And Hamshire,
in defense. Exactly. So I don't know. I'm not sold on Slovakia. Not to say I'm super sold on Sweden either. It's unfortunate not to see Ibrahimovic participate in this tournament. Seeing that obviously with the knock of his injuries and just trying to rehab and everything. So it's unfortunate, because he did come out of quote unquote retirement to really play in the Euros, and it didn't happen, right? So I still do think that Sweden can finish third, and that's where I'll put them, and I'll have Slovakia in the fourth spot to round out Group E.
I think Spain with the home advantage, I think it's going to be a big factor for them. I think it's going to help
Yeah.
them be motivated a lot. And I feel like as if it's well, obviously, like I do have a like little slight like I hope Fabian Ruiz does well, obviously but
Yeah.
I think overall the team is still pretty decent. It's not the golden age of Spain anymore, but it's not a terrible time for them either. And I think what was it? They won 4 years ago. They won the Euro U21. No,
I think
was it
Ooh, that's a
2017
good
they
question.
won? Or
2017. I believe 2017 they won.
yeah.
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 So obviously there's a reason why you win. Like when you win a U21 tournament, you become part of the new core, and I think that's probably like their first time they're actually going to get a chance to play together in a bigger tournament. So, Sweden, I don't think is going to be good enough to even crack the top three. I actually put Slovakia in third. I'm going to put Poland in second because they still have some dangerous pieces in certain slots. Slovakia, I'm going to put third, and I'll be biased. The reason why I'm putting Slovakia third is because Marek Hamsik, like no other reason why.
Last Euro, he was Slovakia's best player. He was
Yeah.
very good that tournament, and
Yeah. So
I
I
think
agree.
yeah, he was. I think they almost made it because of him too. Like they were, I think, a few points off. I believe.
Now, would I say that they're probably one of the strong top four third places? Maybe not. I don't think so. I don't think Slovakia would be like with their third place finish would be enough. If anything, they might make it in because of a tiebreaker scenario. I'm not going to go that far to make that kind of prediction because I actually don't have the faith enough in them to be a third place finish that has a good tiebreaker to make it in fourth place. But I don't think if they're going to be one of the top three teams, one of the four top three teams. So just to round it up, like once again, Spain, Poland, Slovakia, Sweden.
And finally, the group of death. This is the group where everyone's talking about. You have the defending
Roll up your sleeves.
You have the defending World Cup champions, the defending Euro champions, and the 2014 World Cup champions. This absolutely fantastic.
And
you
Hungary,
have a rematch
and Hungary.
and Hungary. Wait, how do you know I wasn't including Hungary on that initial list? Come on, Adriano.
Hey, who knows? He may have
I
Hungary
don't know.
first in that group.
Didn't say nothing.
But and you get a rematch of the 2016 final. So Portugal, France, Germany, and Hungary. I mean, if Hungary finishes top two in this group, that's like Leicester City level right there.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
The group is going to be played in Budapest in Hungary, so maybe they'll beat Hungary in that sense. But yeah, Hungary and Germany are the hosts for this group. It's honestly this group. This is the hardest to predict.
Yeah,
it's so tough.
Death.
It really is.
I don't even know where to start.
At least it's not like old tournaments where the top two go out. At least third place still has a chance. So Portugal, France, and Germany could all make it to the knockout stage. But wow, pure firepower.
Yeah, okay. So for me, when I did the UEFA prediction, like the tournament one, I had France finishing first, Portugal second, Germany third, and Hungary fourth. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Germany even finishes second in this group, or even Portugal tops the group. It's just there's so many scenarios, and it's just an unbelievable group. And I think this one's going to be the hardest one to predict. But for me, I have France, Portugal, Germany, and Hungary finishing fourth.
Yeah, guys, it's a no-brainer that this is the hardest group to predict. You said, group of death. Everybody knows it. It's no secret. There's three top nations in this group, and you round it off with Hungary there. But again, like Danny said, I don't even know where to begin. Like I don't know. Like it's so tough. It's going to be so close. I really don't think I'd be surprised if there's like a big gap with the points and stuff, because I don't know. This is going to be like a dogfight when these top nations come together and face each other. So. I'm kind of almost at a loss to really predict this group, but for Group F, I would say France finishes first. I do think I would probably say that a lot of people probably peg them as favorites to win the whole thing. I know if you go online and you go all the English news, England's 5-1 odds favorites there. So But again, I do think France is, one of, if not the favorites to win the whole thing. Their squad is strong. They got top players at a lot of positions. It's tough to really bet against them. Guys, it's France. It's kind of their time right now. But they were shocked in 2016 on home turf to Portugal. So again, anything can happen in this group, I do think. So I will put France first, though. I think Portugal edges out Germany to finish second. Again, no knock to the Germans, because I do think they have some quality. Yeah. I just think they are still in the motor's still, we're still in first gear. Yeah, we're still in first gear with Germany. I think after this tournament, maybe into the World Cup, we can be saying different things. But I think Portugal's run of form, their quality at their positions, every position group has some quality. They got still one of, if not the best player in the world, in Cristiano Ronaldo. Love him or hate him, he's there. So guys, it's close for me. I do still think France finishes first, Portugal second, Germany third, with Hungary in fourth. But again, I do obviously think that whatever third place team is going to advance. And again, guys, if Portugal finishes third, they've been there before, right? So they can easily finish third and won't have anything bad to say about it, because they did it in 2016. So I do like their youth and their squad as well. So they're definitely a nation to look out for. I don't think once it becomes in the knockout stages, maybe it's a different story. But for the groups, I'm going to go, like I said, France, Portugal, Germany, and Hungary.
I pegged France to be one of the finalists, one of the semifinal teams. I think they finished second in this group, and I actually think Germany is going to finish first. Germany, there's never any. Germany is the best, historically, the best soccer nation in terms of international results. Even though Italy has their edge on them, we're always, the only win that they have versus us is 2016. We won one of our weakest rosters in penalty shots. But historically, Germany's got 4 World Cups, 3 Euros. There's never been a bad German team. There's been average German teams, but there's never been a bad German team. And this team that they're going to go with is still a very well-rounded, solid team. Now, France has got great players in almost every position, but if when it comes to goalies, I give the slight edge to Germany. When it comes to the back line, I give the slight edge to Germany. When it comes to the mid, I kind of give the edge to France. France got a better mid. And up front, obviously, I give it more to France than I would give it to Germany. But nonetheless, I think Germany's it's mind shaft, they're just a solid unit. So and Portugal, no knock to them. They're gonna have a great golden generation coming up soon. We're probably gonna see a fantastic next World Cup, next Euro. We're gonna see a very, very dangerous Portuguese team, but I don't think they're there yet. Yes, they are 2016 winners, but that was 5 years ago. I think that they probably finished third, but the best third place team. They're going to be the number 1 seeded third place team to move on. Groups like this should be illegal.
That's fair.
I'm sorry. Groups like these, this one should be illegal, because there's so many great teams.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if, say, a team like Portugal or Germany, who do finish third place, are only there because of goal difference. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
And I think every logical soccer fan is going to see that and going to be like, that's the only reason why. And they're going to know that. It's not because this team played poorly. I could see them all going 2-1, 2-1, 2-1 or something like that. And it's okay, well, it's just goal differential. That's the difference maker at this, So I think what's going to come down to is going to be Germany first, France second, Portugal third, and Hungary fourth. It was a nice try, guys. Thanks for showing up, but you guys were basically a warm-up.
For hosting.
They're one of the host nations. They're one of the. Oh my god! I completely forgot about that.
But it's okay. They welcomed some great guests, and they had a good dinner party, and they left. It's fine. Nice, peaceful.
So good in soccer. I think it was in the 50s. They were one of the best teams too.
Yeah. They got some history, but I don't think it's enough in the group of death. So
no, exactly. But yeah, for me, for what I predicted, France, Germany, Portugal, Hungary, I put Portugal, in 3, just So we get a repeat of 2016. I actually have them going to the semifinals in my bracket. But we went group by group. We're gonna talk about the Azzurri just in a second, but I want to ask you guys. So we all want the Azzurri to win. We all think they could win. Maybe if we take off some like our bias glasses, we're gonna have to take another team to win. Who do you think realistically, besides Italy, who's gonna win this tournament?
I personally think France can win it.
Yeah.
For me, I want Italy to win it. Obviously, I see Italy winning it. That's just my dreams. But realistically, I think if Italy don't win it, I can see a team like France winning it. And I wouldn't count out Portugal winning it as well. I think they have a great side. They got some quality players in the midfield. They got Ronaldo, who personally, I'm a Ronaldo guy, but he's one of the best players of all time, and he's easily one of the best players in the world. So I think Portugal could win it. Don't count out Belgium because they could be a team that a lot of people might not have, but they can end up winning it. But I think it's going to be France or Portugal. But personally, biased, I think Italy could win it too. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
Wow.
That's who, like France. I mean, they're so good. Like, look at their attack. Griezmann, Mbappe, and Benzema, and then you got Conte in the midfield. Like that.
Conte,
you know
Pogba.
you know what they say. 70% of the world is covered in water. The rest by an N'Golo Conte.
Conte, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's Johnny.
Ja, what do you think? I don't know. It's tough, man. Like this is like I think everybody is gonna go France, but they had the chance in 2016 on home turf, and they blew it in the final, right? And Portugal was a third place team. Many people want to say they shouldn't have even been there, but guys, they got the job done when it counted, and they came out victorious in France against the French. So again, I don't think. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm not to say that exact script is written out in Euro 2020, but I wouldn't be surprised if France isn't at the end of the finish line raising the trophy and pretty much showing that everybody's prediction was right. I think I just don't know. I say all this, but I just don't know who's the team to be the killer. If I can be honest, I do agree with what Nick and Danny are saying about Portugal. I like Belgium. I like Croatia. I still think, like I mentioned about the Germans, finishing third, but maybe they can be the Portugal of 2016 in 2020. Maybe I don't know, because Johnny brought up some great points, about the Germans in tournaments. So. I'm gonna stick with what you guys are saying with France, but I just think there can be another surprise, and shock come the end of this tournament.
If I'm gonna really take off the rose-colored or bias-colored glasses when you're not looking at red flags,
take your Azzurri cap off and put on your.
If I put like actual like serious cap on, I think soccer. Nowadays your games are won in the midfield. I feel like as if you're not boasting a strong enough midfield, you're not going to get the results. You can have fantastic strikers, guys that can finish it like 3 out of 10 times, and that's great numbers when you can like score 3 out of 10 shots. But like. That's where I'm probably going to give the edge to France. I think France overall is a very dangerous squad. I know I said they're going to finish second to Germany, but that's because I just give slight edge to Germany in the more defensive positions. But overall, France is too dangerous of a team to just not take seriously. As much as I love Italy's midfield, I think we boast one of the best midfields in the world. But I think if we lose one of our top 3 midfielders, I don't have too much confidence in the depth after that. Like if you're going to start, let's say maybe Jorginho, Verratti, and Barella, fantastic. And then let's say, for example, Verratti is still not good enough to go for the Euros. Okay, Locatelli's okay. but there is a dip. That's like no disrespect to Locatelli, he's really improved his game.
No, you said it right.
It's a bit of a dip there, and if you're going to go against a midfield that has one of the most aggressive mids with Pogba and one of the most controlling mids with Conte, like one of the best box-to-box mids in the world, it's scary. So if I'm going to be serious, obviously I want Italy to win, and I hope they win. Yeah. And you know what? I'm confident that they can do it. I think they have the team that's good enough. They're the most informed team right now. Offensively, we're clicking. Like, I know people are like, oh, but Immobile this. It doesn't matter. Italy's never had, like I said in previous episodes, Danny's not here, so I'll just repeat it for Danny. It's extremely rare that an Italian team has that one striker that just scores so many goals for them in international tournaments. Last I can recall was 98 Vieri, even 02 Vieri, and in 2012 Balotelli with 3 goals. Besides that, it's usually a shared. It's usually shared pot. Everybody eats. Everybody has a chance.
Do we say the way Paolo Rossi? Do we say that?
Of course.
Yeah, like Paulo Rossi, right? As well. Paulo Rossi as well.
We're too young to remember him.
But just to say, we had like those.
I didn't.
It was in. No, I know, but it was like it came. Those types of performances came in spurts. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's been a consistent thing throughout Italy's history, like Johnny's mentioning, that we've had this one guy that's going to score 10 goals in the tournament. Like
if Insigne pops in a couple, like they sub Barardi and he.
Just with Immobile scoring the last game against Czech Republic, I can see if Immobile is the type of striker, if he's in form, we all know what he can do in the Serie A, last year's Golden Boot winner.
Of course.
I feel like if Immobile, if he can score, I think Italy have a very good chance to win because we do have a great midfield. Our attack, if they click, one of the best in the tournament, with Insigne, Chiesa, Immobile. If those guys can perform like they can and the way our midfield can, Italy's going to be a dangerous team to look out for. And again, I personally think we're one of the underdogs in the tournament. I think a lot of people don't have us winning it, but we could be the type of team. Okay, Italy, they're not going to win it, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, we end up winning the Euro. So you got to look out for us.
That's how it usually is.
Yeah.
And just to quickly add, when France won the World Cup in 2018, Giroud had 0 goals. He was their main center forward, didn't score any.
Yeah.
But nowadays, your number 9 is not meant to just be the guy, like the bomber, the guy who's going to score the goals. He sucks into center backs.
Yeah.
He opens up space for the wingers, and then your wingers, if they have shots like Insigne does with his right foot, we know that Chiesa on the right, he's really good too. If you're going to play Chiesa on the right. But anybody else on the right you can put, and they can obviously score. So that's why even if Immobile gets 0 goals, I don't blame him as long as he does his job of getting the defense to just storm in and open space.
Yeah, present. As long as he's causing trouble for the defense, opening up space for the guys Insigne, Chiesa, and don't forget our fullbacks with Emerson or Spinazzola. They're very good attacking fullbacks, so you gotta look out for them as well. I think those guys can be key as well for us.
Yeah, and just to talk quickly about like strikers, it's like look at even Croatia or Belgium, like Mandzukic in the past, for example. I know he's been not the same Mandzukic that we've known in years past. But he also does seem to pop up and show up for his nation. We haven't seen him like the Juve days, but he's a guy that can, even if he doesn't score, he brings the presence. Lukaku for Belgium. I mean, this guy, best attacker in Serie A. I expect him to have a pretty good Euro as well. We obviously saw him in 2016 where he was a bit of a force, but I think he will be an even bigger force. So again, even if he doesn't score at the same rate that he was in Serie A, I still think he brings that presence, like you guys are mentioning, that it shouldn't go unnoticed. So again, we spoke about it last week with Pizza Calcio. We got a question last week by our boy Cliff Esmiel on Twitter and on Instagram about surprise player. I said, fuck the haters about Immobile. Immobile is going to do it. He's going to do it this summer. Yeah. But again, like Johnny's mentioning, even if he doesn't score as many goals as we would like, or, I don't want to say none at all, but if it's none at all, but he's still doing his job and still being creative and still being a presence up top and, taking defenders out of certain spaces and creating spaces by himself, I still think we're in good shape. But Again, France, I think we all could come together and say that they are the favorites. And if we're taking off our Azzurri caps, we'd probably say them as winners.
Yeah.
We basically transitioned perfectly because we were going to talk Azzurri. I know we.
There you go.
We had Danny on. To preview this tournament. Now, Danny, is your time to shine because we've spoken about Italy enough on the podcast. This is why we had you on. Talk about the Azzurri. We just talked about the attack. That's the main thing. But in these tournaments, there's always going to be a challenge, right? No team is perfect. What do you think Italy's biggest challenge is?
I think for me, it's just, again, heading into the tournament, it's who's going to be our number 9 heading into the tournament. And for me, I believe Immobile will be our number 9 to start the tournament. Will he be the number 9 going down the line? Who knows? I think if he can get going, I think our team will be well off. I think our defense is good enough with either Bonucci or Bastoni starting, or if they want to go Bonucci-Chiellini starting. I think our midfield, nothing can be touched unless Verratti is is hurt and he's not performing at his level. The attack, I believe we probably have one of the best attacks in the tournament with Insigne, Chiesa, and Immobile. Just the one concern I had was our number 9 position. And I think after last performance with Immobile and Insigne, how they played very well together against the Czech Republics, I think Immobile will be our number 9 starting the tournament. And hopefully he can prove a lot of people wrong, including me, because I had a few doubts about him. Especially on the podcast we have, I had a few doubts of him maybe performing at the tournament. Hopefully he can prove us wrong. And if he can step up and perform like he can, Italy's got a good chance.
Danny, so one thing I want to bring up, because, we're both Napoli supporters and, big guys on them. How do you feel about Politano not being called up? I have a certain sentiment towards it, but obviously I want to hear your side of it.
I was at the time, I'm surprised he wasn't called up because over Bernardeschi, we all saw how the stats showed and the way Politano is, he could have easily fit in. As time went on, I started to reflect maybe it's because Politano is just a right mid. He can't play on the left, and while Bernardeschi he can also play in another position. And Bernardeschi is actually, you can argue this. Personally, I wouldn't agree, but a lot of people are saying that he's better when it comes to defending than, say, Politano. The likes, he comes back more, gives more of a hustle. He's got a good connection with Mancini. He can play anywhere Mancini can put him. So I think it just comes down to based on more versatile and not just the stats show. And plus, Bernardeschi, as much as he's been garbage for Juve, he's had a few poor performances for Italy as well. I think he's got a decent record when it comes to goals per game with the Azzurri. Tends to play the way he can with the Azzurri. And I think that's the reason why Mancini called him up. And I was surprised, but at the time now, I think if Berardi didn't have the season he had with Sassuolo, I personally think Politano could have been on this team over the likes of Berardi.
It's well said. Well said. I myself personally, I was just slightly surprised that Raspadori got called up because of his
I wasn't actually
prior, but I understand he had a good Euro tournament, but in my eyes, it was the 0 senior games played until the friendly that kind of irked me a bit because playing against young kids your age versus men, it is a big difference. There's guys that are bigger than you, guys that are stronger, faster. It's a different ball game. And some players, they have fantastic youth stage games, and then they just can't transition to the senior games. Yeah. So I think the more I thought, I was a bit like you. I'm okay, but Politano, if you're gonna have Insigne on the left and you have Politano on the right, they do have a bit of chemistry too. Obviously it would have been nice to see. And this year he had a great year, even though basically it was traded off between him and Lozano. I feel as if he still kind of earned his spot on that side. But on the Raspadori aspect, if this kid is probably going to be one of your future strikers or your future forwards in general, obviously you want to give him the experience of what a major tournament is. And because a lot of the players right now that are playing lost out on a good tournament in 2018. Like we had imagine this squad just 3 years younger playing in the World Cup. That would have been a great experience for them. So I think that that's why Raspadori was called up, so that he can just get the feel. I don't think he's going to play any games beyond the group stage. I think he's just going to be subbed on maybe in a couple of times in the group stage games, but I don't see anything happening beyond that. But so after looking at it and analyzing it, I was like you. I accepted that he wasn't going to be there, and I saw the reason why. I couldn't find a 110% reason why Politano deserved to be there. So great minds think alike, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for me, Raspadori, I'm actually I like the kid. I think he's got a good future, especially the way he played with Sassuolo this season. Last year, he only had a few games, scored, I believe, 2 goals. He had a breakout season this year, scoring 6 goals, 3 assists in 27 games. For me, I think, I don't know if this is true. I think a lot of people are saying on Instagram and Twitter that Keane was also hurt heading into the call-up. So maybe that's a big reason why Mancini didn't call him up, just didn't know the fitness of him. But I also think Raspadori, too, he captained Sassuolo 3 times this season, and he's played amazing games against Milan, where he's just a guy you brought in, he brings energy, especially with the under-21s. I watched the under-21s all 4 games. And he was one player that I noticed that he likes to come back, collect the ball, he's a great dribbler, and he tends to link up with the wide players very well. Something that I've noticed too with Mancini, that's what he likes. He likes his strikers to come back and link up with the guys, say like an Insigne, like a Chiesa, Emerson, Barella making a run, which in the under-21s they had Fratesi playing that role, making the run into the box and causing troubles for the defense. And Raspadori was finding the fullbacks as well, pushing up too. He was connecting with them very well, and he's a type of player. He tends to. He kind of reminds me of I know it's a far off comparison, but he kind of reminds me of the way Mertens plays too, where they both like to create space, create their own space, link up with their teammates, and just fire. And they have a chance, they can fire in and score and create a moment of magic with them. So I feel like this is one thing that Mancini wanted. He wanted to get the experience for Raspadori under his belt, and also the way that Mancini coaches, he sees a lot of his style when Raspadori was playing with the youth level and as well with Sassuolo this year.
Danny, you bring up some good points. The captain points for Sassuolo. I know Sassuolo is not listed as one of the big teams in Serie A, but just to say you put on the captain's armband for a team that finished in 8th spot, was very close to being in that conference league, whatever the hell you want to call it, league there. So I think, we spoke about it last week with 6ixCalcio. We were obviously all upset about, the Keane situation. I don't want to rehash that, listen to our past episode, but and obviously the Politano news as well. But again, I was reading here, we got a DM by our boy Joe Cappuccino, former guest, of the RCR podcast. He also said, surprised by the Raspadori inclusion with a question mark. I think Danny explained it well. We had our thoughts. He also mentioned about how far can we see Italy or the Azzurri realistically going. Again, Joe, we answered the question. If I think it was quarters, semis, if we're being honest to ourselves. But again, we would obviously love to see them win. But Raspadori, I mean, from the last episode, even just until now, I've kind of had, I don't want to say I change of heart, because I don't want to say that, but I think we mentioned it a lot last week with our boys 6ixCalcio about versatility of players and players that were included maybe because of that versatility. We mentioned the likes of Toloi. Danny, you're mentioning the likes of Raspadori and even Bernardeschi, even though a lot of people want to knock him. I guess he is a bit more versatile, but I don't know. If Raspadori can pop in as a striker, if he can pop in on the wing, and make a difference just to bring, fresh legs, so be it. I don't think he's going to be, like Mancini said, the Paolo Rossi of this tournament. I think that's a bit of a stretch there. But again, if he can make the impact, it's great for him. But Some guy that has made a lot of impacts, I think, and he made a big impact against the Czechs on his birthday. And I'm rocking the jersey today, Danny. For his birthday, for you, you're the Napoli fan, Lorenzo Insigne.
I told you in the chat. I love it.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
have to give myself one too.
There you go. So I had to do it for you, but I want to bring up Insigne's name. I think we've spoken a lot about him on this show. We've praised him a lot. I think it's been merited this season. He's had his best Serie A campaign with 19 goals. You guys all know that. And he's now pegged as one of the leaders of this Italy squad. He's a vet. He just turned 30. He's been in tournaments before. Hasn't really been the main guy, but he's been in tournaments before. Obviously captains his club side in Napoli. So, what do you make of, or how do you see Insigne this tournament? What do you make of his role? He's our number 10, right? It's a big number to wear. No matter what club, what nation, you wear the number 10. It has that prestige and it has that pressure to a certain extent. Yeah. So how do you make Insigne's Euros? Do you think you'll be one of our top stars? Will he be a surprise for a lot of people? Because not many people are talking about him in terms of being, one of these top players of the tournament. But if anybody watches the Azzurri and watches Lorenzo Insigne play, when he's on, there's no stopping it. So Danny, what do you make of him?
Yeah, for me, I think if Insigne can play like he can, we all know how the quality he has. I believe he could be a very crucial player for us. I believe he could. Some can argue that he could be our best attacker. Some can argue, which I'm not going to get into that because everyone's got their own opinion, and I respect everyone's opinion. But I think Insigne too. I think he'll have a great tournament. Personally, I think he won't score as many goals as a lot of people are going to expect. I don't think he's going to score 5 to 6 goals, but I believe he's going to be the reason why the Azzurri will score, because he's going to create chances. He's going to cut it on that right foot, maybe link up with Emerson or Spinazzola, making that run from the left side. Or if we see in Napoli too, where he would cut in on the right and have maybe the likes of Chiesa maybe run in, and maybe Insigne puts it in the back post, a back post run, and Chiesa finishes. I think he'll be a crucial player for us. And I think if he can be consistent, I think the Azzurri's attack will be one of the most unstoppable attacks. I keep mentioning it, but I generally believe with this attack, with the quality we have up front, I think all our forwards are going to be crucial. But I think Insigne might be the one who has the most pressure on him and Immobile, I would argue, just because he's the captain of Napoli. And he's also, you made a good point, with our number 10. And number 10s usually have the most spotlight on them. So I personally believe Insigne will have a big tournament, and I think he's going to be a factor on the Azzurri's success in the tournament.
That's a good point.
Danny, so we didn't actually give our predictions for Group A.
Yeah.
I think we know who you think is going to finish first. But we want to hear, Danny. How far is Italy going to go? Famous last question. How far is Italy going to go? And, we talked about this before the episode.
Yeah.
They're coming into this red hot. Mancini, only 2 losses under Mancini. And that was both in 2018, in a friendly in France, in June 2018, and then Nations League against Portugal in September 2018. They have not lost a game since September 2018. 27 unbeaten. They went undefeated in qualifying. They come into this on a 8-game winning streak. There's a ton of
clean sheet as well, might I add.
Yeah,
clean sheet as well.
That's true. 8-game winning streak and 8-game clean sheets. That's insane. Last time they conceded a goal was October 14th against the Netherlands. A ton of expectations within. People in Europe, still might not respect Italy as much. You know what? To be honest, I can't blame them if they don't watch the Italian national team. I'll be honest with that. But once you watch the team, so exciting. This is not your grandfather's Italy. Attack driven. It's amazing to see. We're all pumped. What's going to happen to Italy, Danny?
I personally, I'm taking off my bias glasses. I'm gonna say.
Whoa! I thought you were
Yeah.
keeping them on for this question, Danny. I thought you were keeping
I
them
would
on.
love to, but I don't know. I personally think we could, we could win Euros, but I'm gonna sound totally biased because I'm Italian. But I realistically, I think semifinals could be a good shout for us. I think we might lose to like a team like France in the semifinals, and I believe anything under semifinals, you can argue it's kind of a failure for us. Anything under the semifinals, I would personally think if we could beat France in the semifinals, if it comes down to that, depending on how the tournament bracket goes,
Yeah.
I think we could win the finals. But I personally think if we don't beat France in the semifinals, we're out. So I say semifinals or finals for us.
And Danny, before we go around, we also want to give like our predictions of the group. Like, who do you think maybe even is Italy's biggest competition in the group? Because like last week I was saying, like, you know, if Italy doesn't top this group, and again, I hate to use the word failure, but like it's very close to a failure if they don't top this group. You know, it's again, I don't want to knock any of the nations, but like if you start listening to many people, it's like we have an easier group. So
yeah,
where do you who do you see like is going to be their biggest, you know, threat? Maybe even.
I think arguably maybe Switzerland. They got some good players. They got Mbalo, who's a good striker. He can prove he could be a good striker. Shaqiri, the guy, when he plays, he's actually a very good striker. They got Sommer, who proved he can be a good goalkeeper in the Bundesliga. And I just think Switzerland could cause us the most trouble in this group. Turkey, I believe, they got a good defense with, I can't remember the guy's from Leicester's name, but he's a good defender. And Demirel, who's a good defender. He's shown in the Serie A. He's just he's just a little too physical at times. And I think they're a good side too. They got the striker from Lille who had an amazing season. But I personally think Switzerland can cause us a lot of trouble, because they have pace up front and they're just a good side, and they prove in tournaments that they can play with the big boys as well. So I think Switzerland can cause us trouble, but I think Italy can overcome that. And I think Switzerland will finish second, personally, and I have Turkey finishing third place.
No, it's good points. I mean, it's tough again for the group. Like I obviously, again, like I'm not going to rehash, but Italy is finishing first.
Yeah,
and nothing less, nothing more. You know, it has to be that for me.
Personally, me too. And
no, but that's what it is. Like guys, Nick mentioned all the stats. You know, we all know the run of form. And how if we play the way we know how to play, this should be the group that we top. Like there's no questions asked. Like
I just have a question too. Do you think if Italy if Italy say get eliminated, say we win the round of 16 and we lose in the quarters, would you consider that a failure or
depends who they lose to in the quarters?
I think
true.
That's a good point. How the bracket? It depends too. Yeah, no, like thinking back, I think it depends on the quarters. But if we get eliminated, say, in the round of 16, then we can argue, depending who finishes in the round of 16, it could be a failure, say. And I personally don't. I think Italy could make the semifinals just the way we've been playing. And I just think if we can continue our momentum and if we can have guys like Immobile show up, Insigne, Chiesa, everyone, basically all 11 players or anyone who steps on the pitch, if they can do their job and do it like to the best of their ability, I believe Italy can make it to the quarters or semifinals, and heck, we can even win the whole tournament.
You gotta believe, Danny. But again, I do agree. Like Italy is number one for me. It's going to be Turkey too, in the second spot. I don't know. It's kind of like people want to say. Immobile plays for Lazio, but doesn't really show up for the national team. I think Çalhanoğlu is like that for Turkey. I don't know. For Milan, he comes and goes. But with the national team, I don't know. I start seeing like highlights, and he's really picking up his socks. So I don't know. I think Turkey, on paper, should give us the biggest threat, in my personal opinion. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. I do think Italy will beat them, but I'm going to say Turkey too. 3 is going to be Switzerland, and the fourth spot for me is Wales. I think they fall short. I'm not super high on their squad, so I'm going to say they finish fourth. But again, we spoke about it last week about predictions, and it is tough to really take off the Azzurri cap, but we're going to have to do it if we're honest, and we're doing this show to really show not only our biases, but to also show, to call a spade, right, guys? Like it cannot be up here. Like we kind of have to come down to earth a bit as well. So I last week I said, quarters, semis, more pushing towards the semis. And I personally, I don't think it's a failure if they go out in the quarters. I do think this tournament is still a stepping stone for the World Cup that we'll be seeing in 2022. This is, like we've all mentioned, an experience for a lot of these players, a lot of these young players, right? So, from top to bottom, I think this squad can do well. I think they can go all the way if they can really ride their momentum. For seven more games, they need to do it, right? Like it could happen, but at the same time, again, if we come down to earth, I think quarters, semis is where they'll fall. We didn't have Johnny on last week to really get his true opinions on it. So we got his voice notes, but what are you making of realistic predictions and where do you think Italy will really fall?
Well, if we're going to talk about the group stage, I think we actually finished second. I think we're true. Okay,
so guys, thank you for joining us. We are the Calcio.
Jenny,
follow us on social media.
Did the heat get to you today?
No, I think in a true Italian fashion, we're so hyped, we're so ready for it that the first two games are going to be a draw, and we're going to have to depend on a win on the last match day versus Wales to actually go through. I feel like it's going to be something like that.
This is reverse psychology, huh? This is like a bit of Igor, a bit of a Malocchia, a bit of these crazy superstitious things by Italians. I like that.
I think Wales, like obviously Switzerland's not the Switzerland of before of the tens. Where they actually had a decent team all around. They still have some good players from that era, but they're much older, and it's not enough in my eyes. Wales did go to the semifinals in 2016, and they lost to the eventual winners, so I mean you can't really underestimate that. And Turkey, I feel like as if they're not a strong enough squad. So the way I see it is that it's going to be the first two games are going to be draws. And then Italy's going to finish second on the last match day by beating Wales. But because Wales is probably going to win their first two games, they top the group. Italy finishes second with 5 points. And I probably would put Turkey in third. And then Switzerland in fourth, obviously. And then from there, we just eventually just start, we're going to get in form and we're just going to steamroll our way to the semifinals. I think we're a good enough team to win a semifinal, to get to the semifinals. And that's where I'll disagree with you, Adriano. If they lose in the quarterfinals, I think it's a bust. It's not like the 2016 Italy where the roster was complete garbage that everybody was saying. That the fact that we even made it to quarters and lost in penalties to Germany, yes, I agree. But with the roster that we have now is one of our most optimal rosters. I give it an 8 on 10 overall. I'd be I would rather Cragno over Sirigu, but when they're not going to get any playing time at all, obviously speaking, hopefully not knock on plastic because I'm on a plastic table here. But overall, this is such a great squad. And for their sake, especially for how much they missed out on in 2018, they're hungry. They definitely want to go the distance. The first, I think that, like I said, the first two games are just going to be a little bit of weird stunners and normal Italian stress every frickin' tournament, the group stages. But besides 06, where actually even 06, a draw versus USA, you're like, oh crap, we actually might not make it through, and then they beat the Czech because the Czech were a good team at the time in 06. Like I said, I feel like as if we might actually finish second in that group. I feel like as if we're gonna have an England situation where the first two games are gonna be a bit sloppy. Then they find their rhythm. I know.
I'm glad we agree. We agree to disagree because you think the quarters is a bust, but you say we have a good squad, but we're not going to top the group. So it's kind of for me. I'm all over the place with this.
You can have a fantastic squad, Adriano, but when it comes to one game, when it comes down to one game, sometimes the best team doesn't actually win. I mean, how many times do we see it in football? Football, if it comes down to one game, either you show up or you don't.
I agree. I agree.
So that's why I think with just the issue with Italy, especially the way we are in group stages, I honestly do believe we're the type of team that we just get a bit sloppy in the group stages. Eventually, we find our rhythm, and then when we find our rhythm, we go. Like I said, if you want to look at '06, we were very sloppy in '06. If you really, I know you guys, that's probably your most strongest memory. In '06, we weren't the Australia game was a mess, and then the Ukraine game was probably. Besides the Ghana game, the Czech game, and Ukraine, we actually dominated. The Germany game was a tight fit thing, and it took a good play to finally break the wall. And then from there, Germany fully pressed, and then we capitalized on the counter. France, it took a good corner set piece to actually win. We didn't really dominate any games. We actually had less possession than every single team in each game. We had the least, we won the tournament with every game having minority possession. So, I'm not just basing my facts on that tournament. What I'm trying to say is that even though, it's not just because we win or get results doesn't mean we were the best team. We were the team that had the killer instinct at the time. I think it's probably going to take a game or two with Italy, especially with being in Rome. They have the pressure on them. They're the number, everybody expects them to finish number one in their group. And because of that, that's why I think they don't finish number one. 2010, they were expected to finish number one easily in that group. And what happened? We finished third, and we don't make it through. So, actually, I think they finished fourth. It was bad. It was bad. 2010 is also in my repressed memory.
We don't want to repeat that, and then
that's why. No, you bring up good points, and
pressure's on us.
It is, but I just don't think that because failure is a big word, and to say that you're gonna knock this team that they didn't get out of the quarters, I think is a bit premature in my eyes.
Like round of 16,
if they don't make out of the group or they don't make it out of round 16, absolutely.
Yeah,
but if they put it out all on the line in the quarters and they lose, I can accept that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I will be pissed off no matter where they finish. That's a given.
Yeah, no, it's guaranteed.
And it's not to say that Johnny doesn't bring up good points.
No, he
I think point, I'm glad, and but I'm glad he did bring up those points because everybody that you turn to, Italy's winning. Italy's top in the group. Johnny mentioned it. I don't have to repeat it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think to really label it as a failure in the quarters. I don't know. I think in these tournaments we all know unity, luck, killer instinct, like Johnny mentioned, play a big factor in these things. It's not always, like Johnny mentioned, the best team that's going to win everything. We know that. It takes other factors too, which I understand. So, and you know what? We went perfect. We're on this unbeaten streak. The competition hasn't really been the same that we might face down the stretch. So again, I don't know. We mentioned it last week. Do you think that not having the experience will affect this squad? I said no because I think our unit is strong. But again, the proof is in the pudding on the pitch. So if it doesn't click in the quarters and this team goes out with a fighting spirit, I can't really knock that too much. I mean, I would love for them to go further, but at the same time, I guess I would have to kind of sit back in reality and say, well, this is where we realistically are as a nation. But I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, in history too. Usually, Italy, compared to the last World Cup since 2006, Italy has done better in the Euros after that World Cup than say in the World Cup. In 2012, we made it to the finals. 2016, we lost in the quarters to Germany on penalties with you can argue, our worst squad. And from there, I feel like Italy now is going to use this Euro as a huge stepping stone. And who knows, guys say, Locatelli, Barella, Bastoni, Chiesa, Mobile, Insigne. From this tournament, I feel like they're going to, we got this underneath our belt, and we're just going to continue to become the player. We're going to continue this form. And I feel like this Euros is going to be a big stepping stone for the Azzurri, and I feel like the pressure. I don't think the pressure will get through us early in the tournament, but I think maybe in the semis or quarters, semis, and maybe finals, if we get that far, I think then we'll start feeling the pressure. But overall, I think the team has unity, and I believe in Mancini, and I believe he's done an excellent job with us, and I think this tournament's going to reflect the job he's done in the past.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
Very, very, very exciting. I mean, we could, talk about this for days. Well, we could talk about this until Friday, pretty much, and then, after Friday, we'll talk about it until the next Wednesday when they play. But Danny, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me on. It's an honor joining you guys, and looking forward to rewatching this episode when it comes out.
Enjoy it.
The honor is ours, Danny. The honor is ours.
Yeah,
Make
exactly.
sure, if Italy goes far, make sure people are celebrating down St. Clair Street.
Trust me.
Are you from Woodbridge?
Yeah, I'm in Woodbridge. So
yeah,
we're going to have some videos on Friday coming out.
I know my Woodbridge geography thanks to T-Dot Italians on Instagram. Always posting,
shout out Ange.
Posting photos of St.
Ange and Vito, huge Napoli fan.
Yeah,
so shout out to him as well.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah. So make sure to celebrate. We'll be celebrating on Saint Laurent here in Montreal.
Sir,
this is what I love about the Euros. You're the Napoli fan. I'm the Juve fan. EJ the Milan fan. Jenny will leave.
So we're cultured man. Juve's not, and Nicholas not a cultured man. So we're got it.
Jenny, we'll leave you. We'll label you as the Roma fan in this case. So we got 4 different teams represented, and we're all coming together to support Italy
together. Like the group will come the Euros, but like Nick's mentioned, and I and Johnny mentioned, the pleasure's all ours, Danny.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm glad we made this happen. During the day we were a bit scared. Maybe we couldn't get you on. We had a little bit of the fucking power.
A couple hours before I was maybe at around 7. I'm just on my phone, whatever. Boom, power goes out. I go, oh, so help me if the power doesn't come back by 9. But luckily, 15, 20 minutes later, the power came up. I'm so happy.
It was meant to be, I think. It was meant to be for this episode to happen.
Yeah.
But again, we can't thank you enough for coming on.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on.
No. It's a thank you. Where can we all find you guys, yourself, anything you guys do, anything you want to plug? Danny, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't followed, please follow 6ixSideCalcio. We're on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Anywhere you can find a podcast, that's where we are. And also follow the Napoli Club of Toronto. It's a Napoli Club TO on Twitter and Napoli Club Toronto on Instagram.
Beautiful. And guys, we say it every week. Where you can find us at the Calcio Guys on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Catch our podcast on all your favorite podcasting platforms. There's a lot to talk about with the Azzurri. We have more guests we want to get on. We'll be back on soon. A lot more content to come your way. So to give us a follow, come on this ride with us during the Euros. And we'll be back very soon, like I said, to talk a lot more Italia.
Thanks for listening.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.
Marcatore di Cannavaro. Palla tagliata. Messa fuori, c'è Pirlo, ancora Pirlo di tacco. Tiro. Gol di Grosso, incredibile, siamo sopra il banco minuto, gol di Grosso, ancora sull'invenzione di Pirlo, molto bravo a trovarlo, grande gol, grandissimo, bellissimo, nulla da fare per Lema, non la vede nemmeno partire questa palla, ma non ci sarebbe mai arrivato, bellissimo. Arriva il pallone, lo mette fuori Cannavaro, poi ancora insiste Podolski, Cannavaro, via il contropiede con Totti, dentro il pallone per Girardino la può tenere anche vicino alla bandierina, cerca 2 contro 1, Girardino, dentro Del Piero, andiamo a Berlino, andiamo a prenderci Peppe, si va a Berlino Peppe.
Andiamo a Berlino!
Andiamo a Berlino Peppe.